Hello, this is Martha Alter Hines. I am here today with Verena Borell, and today we want to discuss this very alive topic for many of us, which is Pluto moving into Aquarius and all many layers that Verena and I are both feeling. And we would love to also hear your thoughts. So just to begin, I'm Martha Alter Hines. I do astrology that's based in evolutionary astrology, and I incorporate some other modalities, including some shamanic astrology. I'm working with Heather Ensworth and my own connection to the spirit world. And Verena.
Yes, I'm Verena, and my home base in astrology is evolutionary astrology in the lineage of Jeffrey Wolf Green too, and I'm widen and deepen it with other perspectives of astrology, and I also work with the Akashic records, and my own connection to the spirits world, similar like Martha's, like Martha was saying, is influencing my astrological perspectives. And I think that Martha and I both see astrology as a tool for healing, for evolution, for rising the consciousness on the planet. And I think that, this is our approach to look at Pluto in Aquarius. And I'm super excited to talk with you about that, Martha, because we decided to talk together because I think we both want to hear each other's view. And there are so many topics, and maybe you, when you watch this video, have already watched different videos about Pluto in Aquarius, because these it's a variety of archetypal topics that might show up, and the awareness of all of these different facets enable us to be more conscious with the shadow sides and with the potentials for healing that Pluto in Aquarius reflects. I'm excited to discover and explore some of them with you, Martha.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing about sort of the meta perspective of where I'm coming from, and I think it's similar to you. And I also think it's related to Pluto and Aquarius, which is my approach to astrology is also, my approach to life is that it's really key to me to consistently come back to my own and each of our own connection with the divine and with the intelligence of the divine, and to let that inform how we approach the cosmos and how we approach healing and all of it. So for me, it's extremely important that I am grounded in the Jeffrey Wolf Green through Ari Moshe Wolf version of evolutionary astrology, for sure. And this is very Uranian, very Aquarian, right? Like that I then need to continuously every day, multiple times a day, come back to my own center, my own alignment as the divine, as Earth, Uranus and Taurus, ruling Pluto and Aquarius.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling it more and more, like so much more intensely, actually, even just in the last week. We're recording this on, what is today, March 27th? Yeah, so Pluto just moved into Aquarius 4 days ago. And I already feel like I've had multiple, many deep shifts over the past week. I would say a few days leading up to Pluto moving into Aquarius, and then since then. So we can talk about lots of those layers, but I just wanted to say that in general, that I think a big part of our approach is that it's really informed by our own relationship as the reality that we are each beings of the divine, and that this intelligence of the divine is, we are living and breathing versions of it, and so my sense is that astrology needs to live and breathe with the intelligence of the divine too.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. And I also want to add to that we should always be aware that the transits, such as Pluto and Aquarius, are indicative of overarching evolutionary energies. So Pluto and Aquarius is not doing something with us. So the planets are never the cause. And so it's not like a religion or a belief system. It's really about the power of astrology is that we can see in the cosmos what is in the field, the energies that are there, that are part of this evolutionary stream of energy. And astrology is a tool to gain more clarity about what we maybe subconsciously or consciously feel. And I think coming back to the feeling, so you can, it's always important that if you hear or watch anything, astrology videos or something else, please tune in with your own divine intelligence, and what resonates, and what not is not in your energy stream or field. So that's really important that you, I think that we never think that we listen or we hear Pluto and Aquarius is doing this or that, and then you are losing your own autonomy and your own authority. And I think that Pluto and Aquarius is so much about that you understand yourself as an individual, authentic being, and no longer give your power away to authorities that are external, to systems that are outside, to gurus, to anything outside, and really come back to the intelligence that is flowing through you. And with the intelligence, I don't think about just in the mind. So Uranus is in Taurus, so it's really about the intelligence as an energy that is like the chakra system, like the Kundalini energy, that is really a life force energy that is flowing through every cell, through every thing being, which is everywhere and completely independent from planet Earth. It's really this loving energy of the cosmos, or source energy, or light energy, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add that for me, a big part of Uranus and Taurus, which again is ruling Pluto in Aquarius, is the reality that the Earth is a being of light, just like me, just like you, just like the stars, everything. So for me, it's helping us. Again, we're jumping down the set of conversations we can have, but just as a little to touch on this is that one of the energies I'm feeling as Pluto has been moving into Aquarius is this reminding me or us that it all is light. I mean, the first book I channeled and published is called Living the One Light. So maybe that's part of just who I am, but it really feels important in this time, especially to be remembering it all, like you were saying, as energy. And light is one version of energy, that like the Earth, Uranus and Taurus, the Earth is a light being and part of the cosmos, not separate from it, and we're not separate from the Earth. The Earth is not separate from the cosmos. We are literally part of all of it.
Yeah, and I think that there is something about the oneness of diversity, or diversity as oneness. So I think that we are all one. It's all part of oneness. But I think in Aquarius, we really learn, and that is for me personally, the difference between Pisces and Aquarius, because in both archetypal energies, we have this idea of zooming out, having the bigger picture, oneness. And I think that on the one hand, Pisces is very watery and Aquarius is more airy, but I think that in Aquarius we really understand, and I think that is so important for us moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, that oneness is composed by different individual beings. Like when you look at a beautiful mosaic, and there are all these different parts of it that are building, or if you look at at nature, so little cells that are building beautiful plants, and our body is is from different little beings, so to say. And I think that in Aquarius, and I think that is one of the huge potentials of Pluto in Aquarius is, or maybe one of the highest potentials of Pluto in Aquarius for me, is that we decondition Aquarius from all of these unnatural structures, rules, roles that we had, and really come back to our natural soul's isness, to really this pureness of our soul before any conditioning, and can be, when we do that, and exactly the place where our soul wants to be, and perfectly fit into this harmony of the all that is, and the harmony of the spheres, so to say. And in the moment that every soul deconditions and comes back to their true and natural essence and steps into their authentic gifts, it serves the collective. Then every soul can serve the collective without having this separation from ourselves, because we feel separated from ourselves when we are not living our true soul's essence, but try to fulfill expectations. And I think that this is such a huge potential with Pluto in Aquarius, and it might be very uncomfortable, especially in the first years, to really have this deep conditioning where we still live in structures, internal and external, that are unnatural, because normal is not natural. What is normal for us is not natural. We live in a society that is completely unnatural. And I think that there's a huge shift when every individual soul reclaims their natural essence, then the whole society can shift. I stop here.
Yes, well, yeah, and what I'm thinking about as you're talking is the reality that we are going to be having Pluto going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius for the next year and a half. And when I drop into that, one gift I feel in that, which is also a gift of the reality that, most of the planets have a retrograde, not the sun, like not the moon, but everything else has a retrograde period. And part of that is, it reflects this reality that our process of change often needs a retrograde period, literally. Like we need to test, like put our toe in the water of the new thing, go back to the thing we were doing, come back in a new way. With Pluto, it often goes over it 5 times the same spot, right? So it's like we get that Pluto energy coming through a total of 5 times, which is a lot of times to go over the same energetic in ourselves. And so when I think about Pluto going from Capricorn into Aquarius, I'm curious what you think about this. One of the gifts I feel in that is that the Aquarian energy is, I mean, it's beautiful, it's amazing, I love it. I have very strong Uranus in my own chart. I'm really committed to being aligned as the intelligence of the divine and doing that. And at the same time, that energy can be very ungrounding, very dissociative, and even can feel traumatic. So I feel like Pluto going back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn, I feel like a potential gift in that is that when it goes back into Capricorn, we can reground. We can say, okay, we tested out this feeling. Awesome. Here's what I'm going to take from that. Here's what I'm going to let go. I'm going to come back into a little bit of maybe more familiar territory. Remember again that I am Earth, Capricorn, I am Earth. I am here. I do need structures. We do need structures. We can't have no structures. We would just float into outer space. So, and the going back and forth between the two signs maybe is a chance for us to ground, align, reground, realign, back and forth like that. What are your thoughts?
I love that you're bringing that in, because I think this shadow, and it's really a shadow of Aquarius, is that we forget that we also have a human body when we are in these Aquarian spheres. And I think that Uranus in Taurus rules Pluto in Aquarius when Pluto moves into Aquarius. So this is a sign, and I'm just repeating what you already said, that and I think this is really a gift with Pluto moving back into Capricorn, because I think that I love to talk about ourself in two dimensions, our soul self and our human self. And our human self and our animal body needs safety. And our whole system is tuned to keep us safe. So any change, even positive change, is scary for our system. So I think now and in the upcoming months and years, it's crucial. And I know that your work is so connected to that, Martha, to really allow our whole system to evolve holistically. That means that we don't leave our body behind us, and that we don't detach when fears are coming up, because it's so easy in Aquarius to quote unquote spiritual bypass, or to disconnect from the body and just go up in the clouds. But then we negotiating that our soul decided to come down into a body on planet Earth, and then there is no evolution. There is just it's like air, but we are not like air. We are here in human form too. And I think that it is so important to allow and that is something, that is a message that is coming through me so strongly, especially with Saturn and Pisces too, that we really need to trust that our natural pace is divine timing. And that change needs time. And Pluto is a very slow-moving outer planet, and that reflects that these deep evolutionary changes and transformations and even transmutations with Pluto need time. Pluto goes slow, it goes retrograde. So Jeffrey Wolf Green talks so much about these different ways how we can cope with evolution. We can completely resist, we can completely go with it, and naturally it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I think that is good, because when we are too hasty and too fast, it's maybe not sustainable, and we might forget that our body, our animal instincts, our wonderful animal body needs time to adapt. And that is something that I feel so strongly with Taurus, because I think Taurus, it's not true that Taurus cannot change. Taurus just needs to change in its own pace.
Yes. Yes. And something was just clicking for me that I cannot believe never dawned on me before. This is so obvious. It's like, because I was thinking about, if we go too fast, what we could end up with is skipped steps, right? Mm-hmm. So then I was thinking, Right. And that often will show up in astrology when something is squaring the nodes.
Yeah.
Guess what's going to be squaring the nodes, or already
Pluto.
is? Pluto. Pluto is squaring the nodes literally as it is moving into Aquarius and going back into Capricorn. That is precisely when it is squaring the nodes. So it's
Yeah.
like, to me, I mean, I don't know how this is only dawning on me right now, but it's true. Yeah, it's like, it feels like this moment where, in a sense, our collective soul is saying to ourselves, hang on, wait a minute. Maybe we did this too fast last time, or like the 10,000 other times. Let's slow down. Let's notice this opportunity. Okay, we have this opportunity. We have this choice point where we really can balance these polarities in ourselves, and we really can start to integrate them in a way we haven't before. And our soul gets to make that choice. Are we going to go all in or not? Or, anyway, you go. I have other thoughts, but I want to pause.
Wow. Yeah, I have just a thought about that. This idea of when we really Aquarius like zoom out a little bit and look really at humankind history or her story, I think that there are several examples in history where people wanted freedom, but they were not ready for it. They were not matured for it. So French Revolution, when Pluto was the last time in Aquarius, it was people were not ready and matured enough to really have freedom. So they again choose a tyranny, and the people who were the revolutionaries became the new tyrants. So I think that there is something about this Pluto going back into Capricorn, really becoming your own self-authority, because just when everyone is in their own self-authority and in their integrity, then we don't need oppressive systems. But when we are like children who are not in alignment with their integrity and self-authority, then we need oppressive systems. And I mean, it's not that is the rule or something like that. That is just a dynamic that I can see. And I think that this slow shift into Aquarius really allows us to look on an individual level in our life. Okay, what do I want to let go? Where are my conditionings that are not natural, that may be normal for me, but that are not natural for me? And what does it mean to gain more freedom for myself? What do I need to change? Because for me personally, many old patterns are showing up, and I get the clear message: you cannot take these old patterns with you into the new, because you cannot be your future self with these patterns. So I think on a very individual level, the next 2 years will be a lot of underworld journeys, because we must purge and we must bring these old restrictive patterns to that they show up, so that we can heal them and can let them go, so that we really can gain a new level of freedom in a way.
Yes, and I just want to throw in the French Revolution happened around the same time that the United States Constitution was being written. So the United States had their own revolution, a decade or whatever before the years before the French Revolution. I'm forgetting the dates exactly of the French Revolution, but the United States Constitution was being ratified in the late 1780s. So I think that's when Pluto was going into Aquarius, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Pluto, the French Revolution was when Pluto was in Aquarius last time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Do you remember the year?
250 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want to say it was, I'm looking it up. I want to say it was 1789. Yes, 1789. Yes. Okay, it started 1789. And the United States Constitution was ratified in 1787, I think. So it's like, so it was right before, I guess, Pluto would have been going into, anyway, it's right around the same time. So it's, so the United States history also was dancing with this Pluto and Capricorn, Pluto and Aquarius dynamic. And I mean, the start of the United States government took many, many, many years. It wasn't just on July 4th, 1776, all of a sudden the United States existed, right? It's not how it worked. And the United States is having major issues, in case nobody noticed. Yeah. Probably
And I
everyone
think
noticed.
that, and I think that these Pluto squaring the nodes, one thinks is really that, Martha, we just talked about in our beautiful Conversations with the Goddesses series about Hecate and about goddesses of the underworld and between the worlds. And I think that it's really about, and I really want to emphasize that here, because I think that we, because of our conditioning, we see the underworld and underworld journeys as just evil. And these goddesses between the world, especially Hecate, but also Ceres and Persephone, that are actually very interwoven in the astrology of the next years. They help us to understand that Hecate as goddess of the dark moon, and I think we are in a dark moon phase. We are at the end of a cycle and not yet in the new cycle. So we are really on the threshold between an old ages, old centuries, and on the threshold to start anew. And this is a dark time. And the darkness is the fertile ground for the new. So whatever wants to die inside of you, inside of your life, whatever wants to let go of, it is the prerequisite that something new can come. And if there are maybe feelings of loss, of emptiness, these are the prerequisite that new life can be born. And I think with Pluto squaring the lunar nodes, no matter if it is in Aquarius or in Capricorn, it is really about this, the courage and the trust and the faith that when you are willingly go into the underworld and not feel like abducted by the underworld, you can really find a new light and a new power inside of you and a new strength. And that will actually enable you to come back to a light and gain a new level of consciousness and have really this trust in the dark moon phase as a transitioning phase. And that is nothing, just from our human brain, we think that is bad, but it's not the end, it's the beginning. And I think this perspective, it can be very helpful, because I think that from a human perspective, the next months and years may be challenging, because many changes can be very scary for our system, as we already mentioned. And I think that it is very important to really allow ourselves time, to really allow ourselves that all human emotions can be here, grief, everything, even rage. I think that there might be anger and rage about the past. And I think that it's important to let all of this energy flow through us so that we can, that we can step into the new. And Pluto in Aquarius is a long and slow but huge and major shift.
So last week I held a free gathering about Pluto and Aquarius, and what I did was I channeled basically a healing session, but it was channeled. It was from the spirit world. And what came through, I'm really curious to get your take on the astrology side of this, because it's what I've been feeling so strongly in my own life, and just keeps getting emphasized by the spirit world. And I see the parallels to the astrology, but anyway, I would love your take. So what they essentially were saying is that Pluto going into Aquarius, again, is ruled by Uranus in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so the ultimate goal of maybe everything in life, really, of existence, is to bring us back to the balance and the harmony of the divine, of source, which I associate in certain ways with the Venus energy, balance, harmony, and all of that. But what they were saying is that one of the opportunities of this energy, this energetic of Pluto moving into Aquarius, is that it's like Aquarius, Uranus is associated with the nervous system and with like what I was getting shown is not only the nervous system, but also the other energy systems of our bodies. Yeah. So what they were showing or saying is that Pluto moving into Aquarius is this opportunity for us to come into alignment with those energy systems that are our whole energy, all of our energy system, which is ourselves as the divine, but embodied, right? Not only the physical body, but also the energy body. So it's like we have streams or rivulets or rivers moving that are these energy systems. And Pluto often will unearth things, like let things move out that need to move out. So the analogy they gave was, it's like in our energy system, the rivers or those streams, it's like, imagine that there's sometimes little like logs blocking the flow. So the Pluto energy is a support to just gently move the logs onto the bank.
Yeah.
Like Taurus, right? Like move it over here, let it compost, let those logs that are blocking maybe the flow of the light that is us, the energy system that is us, let it move over to the bank of the river and compost back into Earth. Again, related to the cycles and Hecate and all of that. But then the point being that really, we're coming back into true, complete alignment as the light of the divine, as source light itself, so that we can be here as the being that we truly are and live from that place. Like that suddenly they're like Ari Moshe Wolf, our teacher, says often, there are no choices, there's just the truth. So that kept coming up for me with this image also, is that it's like my body is being brought back to these rivers of light that are my energy system, and I'm being helped to let go of anything that's not that, so I can just live from this truly purely aligned place. Is this making sense?
Yeah, totally. And I just thought about, we have in different cultures and different spiritual lineages these energy systems. So I think nadis, kundalini energies. So there are different names for these energy streams that are in our body. And with the chakras, and that you have blockages there. That is thousands of years old wisdom. And I really feel Aquarius connected to our energy body. And as you said, I think that I feel with Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus, that there is this connection between our energy body and our physical body, and that there can be a clarification process. And clarification often means death and rebirth. And I think that often when we experience change and renewal, we often have these physical experiences of that we sweat very strongly, or that there is something intense, or that heat fever or something like that is like a deep transformation, a deep transmutation. And I think that this, just as an image, is Pluto in Aquarius too. So there's really getting rid of everything that is unnatural to come back to this natural essence. And I'm just watching videos and listening to Gabor Mate, and he has this book, what is this called? I just ordered it, The Myth of Normal. And his message is that we live in a society that is unnatural. So we might think it is normal to work 8 hours and to be completely disconnected to our emotions and to be in a complete dissociation from our needs and our feelings and everything that is natural. No, what we consider as normal is very, very unnatural and very unhealthy. And I think that is Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius will dig all of these stuff up where we are still in unnatural structures. And I think that Pluto in Aquarius is not, and Aquarius in general, is not about no structures. It's not. So Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is about structures that are natural and that can evolve. And this is, by the way, from my point of view, the healthy version of Capricorn too, that these are structures that can grow and evolve. And the dance between Aquarius and Capricorn is, when you ask me, that our whole life is a process of structuring and restructuring, of construction and destruction, of constant evolution, and coming back again and again to our natural essence, and again. I think it is a dance to how do we want to contribute to society, and then there comes adaptation, and then it's coming back to what is really natural. Where do I have to be? Where have I been too stuck in societal norms, standards? And every individual constantly coming back to their natural essence and constantly restructuring, then the whole society can evolve. And it gets really, really bad, and we are there when there is something that is stuck. And when there is something or somebody or some authority or some oppressive system that says, no, but I want you to be this and that. And I don't want you to be in your power. And I do everything to disconnect you from your instincts and from your intuition and from your nature. And then we are stuck. And I think that is where we are now. And to get unstuck is to come back to our nature.
Yes. And I would say it's not just outside authorities. I can speak for my own life in the last 2-3 weeks, which is, I actually haven't even told you this off camera. This is super fascinating. Listen to this story. Okay. So my dad.
Before you start, I just want to say that internalized authorities are the worst.
Sorry, say it again.
Internalized authorities, so the authorities that we have internalized over lifetimes, are the worst.
They're very difficult. Yes. So related to that, here, this was the most fascinating story. So as you know, and maybe other people who have watched my videos know, my dad died December 11th, 12th, this past year, 2022. And long story, essentially, he died in Thailand. My family has lived for a long time in India. So my dad's cousin went to Thailand last week and got my dad's remaining, like, he was cremated and basically got his ashes. Took them from Thailand to be buried in India next to basically in the cemetery where my paternal family is. There are several people buried there, including my dad's dad. So it's very much my paternal line, right? Okay. So my dad's cousin, this wasn't planned until the moment of, really, like the day of, the exact timing of this. So my dad, to me, represents a lot of various things that that we could associate with Capricornian, Saturnian things that, you know, I don't think is the end all be all, but certainly he grew up overseas. He's very much of a colonialist kind of guy. So it comes with a lot of the patriarchal images and associations. Okay. So the moment that he ended up being buried was last Thursday, the day that Pluto went into Aquarius. However, he was buried in India. So he was buried at about 4 p.m. India time. Pluto went into Aquarius like 5:30-ish India time. My dad's ashes were buried like 1 hour before Pluto moved into Aquarius. And I mean, that is just the most uncanny, bizarre way of, you know, this, for me personally, this transition happening, for the energy of Pluto being in Capricorn switching into Pluto being in Aquarius. So for me on a personal level, it was unbelievably powerful. And so what I had been getting told for days leading up to that, and then since then also, is that it's really crucial. It's like it's time in my own personal life for me to release, let go of the stories and the karma that I associate with my dad, with the masculine, with all of these older ways of relating to the structures, right? And again, longer story, but to do it with love, like do it holding the whole duality together, not to be rejecting the old, but to very, very deliberately release it and come into only my true alignment as the divine. So as that has been happening, again, more longer stories, things have shifted in my own personal relationships too. And as I'm feeling that happening, I keep coming up with the sense of guilt that I don't, so in my own internal sense of authority, right? Like that I feel like I shouldn't switch XYZ relationship. But when I tune into that Uranian, more Uranian, Aquarian connection as me as the intelligence of the divine, it's just a no. It's this over here is not working. And so it's nobody telling me from the outside that I need to do anything. It's really actually me claiming that I have to align with my intelligence as the divine. And when I do that, it's like, it's this whole process that I'm in the middle of. But what I'm feeling is, you know, then suddenly the life of the divine literally can come alive as me, you know, and there's so much joy, there's so much just beauty and all kinds of things. And it's a win-win-win-win, like nobody loses, really.
Yeah.
That relationship probably is going to shift, like it's probably going to change pretty drastically, but it's all good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. And before, I really want to talk about this wounded masculine. But before that, I really want to add, and thank you so much for this personal sharing, Martha. Thank you, because I think it emphasizes the external and the internalized, and what I experienced is just internalized. So I have nobody in my life who's telling me how I have to do things, but I have such strong internalized patterns, and I know, because I'm working with the Akashic records and spirits world, that these come from past lives, these come from my paternal lineage. There's so much inside of me, and this immense guilt and immense feelings of being really like a sinner when I break rules. And it's intense, and it's all inside. And when I connect with my future self, she is saying, you cannot take this with you. It's not you. It's actually not you. It's blocking you. It's blocking you, and you are not in your full potential when you are still living in these patterns that come from centuries of lives in dominator culture, in patriarchy. And what I wanted to mention is, because I had some realizations the last days, and again, we are recording this on March 27. And just yesterday we had Mercury conjunct Chiron in Aries, and we had the last 2 weeks, all of these intense Chiron and Aries activations, and the next full moon on April 6th, I think. April 4, no, I'm not sure. The next full moon in Libra will conjunct and be in opposition to Chiron and Aries. And we have not only in March and April major Chiron and Aries activations, then the North Node will switch into Aries. So we have eclipses on the Aries-Libra axis from June this year until, for 18 months. Additionally, when we zoom out more, Saturn and Neptune will have their conjunction in Aries, I think in around 3 years. Then Neptune and Saturn will be Neptune for a very long time, Saturn for 2 to 3 years in Aries. So we have this huge focus on Aries. And what is coming up so strongly for me is we are all already, that's good, talking about the wounded feminine and healing the feminine. But I feel that it is so important to talk more and more about the wounded masculine and the internalized patriarchy that we all have inside of us. And when I talk about feminine and masculine principles or patriarchy or matriarchy, I don't mean gender. I really mean the energies. And for me, Pluto, why do I bring that up? I have the feeling that humankind experienced ages of matriarchy, followed by ages of patriarchy. And we are on the threshold to let go of any polarizations, neither matriarchy nor patriarchy, neither just feminine principle nor just masculine principle. We are really on the threshold to start the age of the soul, and the soul has no gender.
Yes.
And I think that Pluto in Aquarius has, our job on an individual level is to really look inside of us where we have wounded masculine and wounded feminine energies. And what I mean with wounded masculine energies is really this suffering that we all have when we disconnect from our emotions, from the body, from our nature, from the earth, from the nurturing principle. We burn out, we disconnect. The suffering, the immense suffering that we have when we don't allow ourselves to lead our life courageously, to set healthy boundaries, to be in a very healthy yang energy. Many of my clients have, especially clients who identify as women, have so strong problems to really step into their strength and to really don't be in this Libra, I fulfill expectations energy. And I think that there's so much to heal around the masculine principle. And I think that over the last thousands of years, men and people who identify as men, but all of us suffered because of these distorted, very unhealthy masculine energies that are repressive and oppressive. And I think that there is something about Pluto in Aquarius that feels very much like coming back to the soul and really exploring that there is, that duality is relative. Yes, we have two poles, we have two polarities, but there are so many facets in between. And I mean, we see it with queerness and anything else, that I think it's about letting go of these separations and dualities and polarities, and really embracing the oneness in diversity.
Yes, and I would say for me also with Pluto squaring the nodes, as the nodes switch into Aries and Libra, for me it's also about really, like for me when something is squaring the nodes, it's not necessarily only about the balance of it and the wholeness of it. It's also really exploring all the way each of the polarities. So like, for example, in our goddess series, to me, that feels like part of the need in our world to go all in. What is the feminine? What are all the facets of the feminine? Or like the spirit world says to me, there's infinite petals on this flower that is the divine feminine, and infinite petals on the flower that is the divine masculine, and infinite petals on the flower that is existence, which is the non-binary, gender fluid reality of everything. And yeah, and I just want to go back. It feels important for me to say one other thing about that personal story. I don't tend to talk about these personal stories, but it's feeling somehow important. Because when we're doing this healing of the wounded masculine, wounded feminine, and bringing reality to the fact that there's also this emerging acknowledgement of the non-binary and gender as a whole construct, not only the duality. Anytime we're making any kind of change, really, there can be such a strong impulse to reject the thing that we don't want, right? So like, for example, with my dad, like burying my dad, again, there are a lot of things that he did in his life that were really beautiful. I mean, he was a healer. He was amazing, like truly helped so many people all around the world. And he did a lot of things that are pretty classically colonialist and not good. So there could be naturally, justifiably, an impulse to reject him, reject parts of him or whatever. But the way that my dad's cousin, who is male, a man, the way he handled the burial of my dad brought home for me this incredibly key lesson for me. So again, as he was burying my dad's ashes, it was an hour or an hour and a half before Pluto was moving into Aquarius. It was the very last moments for all of us of Pluto being in Capricorn, before it goes retrograde. But anyway, symbolically, it was just a huge moment. And what my dad's cousin did is that there was a video of it, and I watched this video. He started in the graveyard of my paternal family, and he went from grave to grave to grave to grave, speaking to my dad, directly to my dad, and welcoming him back home to be with each of these ancestors. So, and he did it with incredible love, like unconditional love. So he was holding the reality of all of my dad, right? Like the colonialist who did the not great stuff and the philanthropist who did amazing stuff, all of it as one, and spoke directly to him with unconditional love as he's literally burying him to say goodbye. You see the symbolism of this is just like, it blew me away, right? So it's it highlighted for me that that's part of, I think, what we need on this planet as we're trying to move past a lot of how we have worked with lots of things, but especially including gender, and especially including the wounding of the gender polarity. That I know I've been there, done that, wanted to be the raging feminist, and I am absolutely still very, very definitely feminist, and the rage is justified and the rage is important to name, to feel, all of it. And it ultimately is destructive to stay there, right? To only do the rage. So there's something, maybe it's the Libra balancing with the Aries, like holding it all at the same time.
Yeah.
And infusing the whole thing with love, even as you're literally you're burying something, but you're holding it with love at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. And what came up for me is too with this story, it feels so connected to Aquarius and to Pisces, the timelessness. Really this understanding that we are actually, there is a dimension where we are not bound to time in a lineage way.
Yes.
But really we are our past, our present, and our future. And I had so often the last days when I entered the Akashic Records this message: your future self is here. You are already it.
Yes.
Your future is here. It's just a way of giving yourself the time to really embodying it. And that needs time, because then we are again on the material, on the physical level. So embodying it takes time. And there came sadness for me because I wanted to already be there. And I recognized on a very physical level that I'm not yet there. But that's okay. It takes time. We have 20 years with Pluto and Aquarius, but it is already here on an energetic level. The future is here and the past is here too. So we can heal the past and we can heal the future now. And I think, and thank you again for sharing this story, Martha. And I think that the here is something, and I cannot yet grasp it because we are just at the beginning with Pluto and Aquarius.
Yeah.
But I feel and I know that our complete concept around time will change over the next 20 years. And our complete concept around physical space will change too. And I know we are at the end because our recording is already so long, but I just want to say one thing that feels important, because we talked so much about our self-sovereignty and how important it is to not fulfill expectations of internalized authority figures or something like that. And I think what I see now, and I'm sure you're seeing that too, is that AI is becoming so strong in all ways. I mean, I have a program Notion, and this works now since I think 2 weeks with AI. So I can, with one click for free, work with AI if I want to. And I think that there is something about using new technologies in a very conscious way, because I feel that there is the danger that we again give our power away, this time not to kings and queens outside, but to external intelligences.
So Pluto, just to break it down for people, you're saying Pluto is related to power. It was in Capricorn, related to kings and queens. Now it's moving into Aquarius, more related to potentially.
And I meant kings and queens like authority figures outside. And so I think that is really important, that we don't give our power, because Pluto is about the empowerment of the soul. And I think that it is about not giving your power away to artificial intelligences outside. I think there is something around that I really feel.
Instead of doing that, we can choose to align with not the artificial intelligence, but with the intelligence of the divine, which is also Aquarius. So it's like not that innovation is bad, not that like we're sitting here on Zoom talking to each other. This is possible because of a very Aquarian thing. But I'm not against
artificial intelligence or something, but I think that, and I just want to put it out, and you can do whatever you want to do with that, but I think there needs to be very much consciousness and awareness on an energetic level. Yeah.
Yes, I'm totally in agreement with you. Yeah, no, just right. And I can see how, like, for example, the Zoom opportunity and the opportunity to connect, to like-minded people in the same wavelength all around the world is a major thing that has only emerged recently, and it's so connected to the Aquarian energies. And so, right, but again, it's done consciously, not in a way where we're always on Zoom and we never are going outside and being in actual real life, with trees and water and stuff. Yeah, there's like a balanced way and an aligned way, and then a totally unbalanced way. Yes, yes, totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yes.
And again, this integrity and this grounding that we need when we want to be free, when we want to use these. So there is always this, I think that our posture and our integrity and our intention, how we interact with these new things that are coming is so important. And that again reflects for me this dance from Pluto between Capricorn and Aquarius so strongly, and the connection to Uranus and Taurus. I think we strongly need that. Yeah.
Yes, and just to close on that point, I find it really fascinating. Another thing that's only dawning on me while we're talking is that as Pluto is doing this dance between Capricorn and Aquarius this year, at least, we do have such incredibly strong Earth transits happening, with like Jupiter going to be going into Taurus, doing retrograde at 15 Taurus, all the Mercury retrogrades being in Earth signs, etc. It's like, and the Uranus being in Taurus and all of that. It's just, I feel like it's so many things bringing us back to the reality that we are Earth. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're moving into the age of Aquarius. Yes, Pluto's moving into Aquarius, and you are Earth. Earth is the cosmos. You're in the cosmos, on the Earth, with the Earth, as the Earth. The Earth is not separate from the cosmos. You are not separate from the Earth. You're all part of all of it.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. And next year we have this very powerful Jupiter-Uranus conjunction too. So
yes. 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 And Uranus will be making major transits for you and me, both personally. Yes. Huge.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that we can easily do a Pluto and Aquarius volume 2 sometime over the next months, because I'm sure that there's so many things that are showing up inside of us in our connection with the energies, what we see in the world. So I would love to continue this conversation with you, Martha, and with everyone who is watching the video. Please feel free to comment and share your thoughts. Again, we just touched on a little tiny bit of the archetypal energies that Pluto and Aquarius reflects. But yeah, I hope that, or we hope that it was maybe opening for you and maybe a slightly different perspective than these classic astrological views and forecasts about Pluto and Aquarius. So yeah. How do you feel, Martha? Shall we wrap it up?
Yes, definitely. And I just want to name also, just feeling the energy of the eclipses coming up, this spring eclipse season, which, touches on lots of the similar themes. And you and I are going to do a different video probably about that. And I wanted to say I'm going to be holding an eclipse gathering on April 21st. If anybody wants to join that, I can put the link. And we want to mention, we've mentioned our goddess series several times, but it is still available. We have now done, we're focusing on one goddess per month. So we first did Persephone, then we did Ceres. This month we're doing Hecate, and all of the workshops are available. They're recorded. There's lots and lots of resources that are uploaded and available already for those first 3 goddesses. And then every month we have a recorded workshop, and then we have a a gathering, an optional sharing and witness circle regarding that month's goddesses. So our sharing circle for Hecate is coming up next week, I think April 5th.
I look it up.
Yeah, I think it's April 5th, and
April 5th.
on the day of the full moon, actually. So every month around the time of the new moon, we have the recorded workshop, and around the time of the full moon, we have the sharing circle. And then I actually hold a second sharing circle one Saturday a month for people who can't do the normal time that we do. And next month we'll be focusing on Hygeia, and then, you know, every month is another goddess. And so you could look at more information. We'll put the link here for that. Verena, what do you want to mention about what you're offering?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the goddess series that you can sign up at any time you want, and especially important, the time where we hold the workshops are completely good for European time zones too. So I live in Austria. It's very easy to attend from European time zones. And in the workshops, we not only share information about the goddess, but Martha and I channel a guided meditation journey so that you really awaken the goddess energy inside of you. So this is a lived experience. It's not a left brain, just take in the information. It's really come into the energy of the goddess and embody the goddess as she dances as you. And yeah, that is one of the beautiful things that I offer together with Martha. And I personally offer one-on-one evolutionary astrology sessions and goddess sessions where we focus more on the goddesses in English and German language. And at the moment, I'm in a deep Pluto transformation in regard to my website. So I'm creating a new website. Because of that, you will find no website below this video, but I highly recommend you to sign up for my newsletter. Follow me on Instagram, and then you will receive more information as soon as the website is ready. And to book a one-on-one session, you will find the information below the video. And yeah, if you speak German, there are some new German offerings coming up, astrology courses based on evolutionary astrology. So there are some, new things. So I think it is good when you want to stay connected with me to sign up for my newsletter, or if you have any questions to the one-on-one sessions, don't hesitate to send me an email. I think that's it.
Wonderful. Yeah, and in terms of me, I can also add that, I do lots of different healing group sessions, and I have time for a tiny bit of one-on-one sessions right now, not a whole lot, but I do have time for a little bit. And a big thing that's coming up that I'm planning, that I'm hosting, that Verena is part of, is the 2023 version of Rebecoming the One, which is a free online symposium that's going to run the whole month of June, and that will be focused on the healing of our relationships to gender and sexuality. So it's happening, just before the nodes are going to be switching into Aries and Libra, and Pluto already is in the energy of squaring the nodes, but it'll be getting closer and closer and closer to that exact square. It'll be 4 weeks of free talks focused on the divine feminine, 1 week on the divine feminine, 1 week on the divine masculine, 1 week on the divine person, which is talking about the non-binary gender fluidity. That's where Verena's talk is going to be. And then the fourth week is going to be called Bringing Us All Together, Rebecoming the One. And some amazing speakers. In addition to Verena, there'll be let's see, Heather Ensworth, Melanie Reinhart, Kelly Hunter, Ari Musha Wolf. So lots of astrologers, but also lots of not astrologers, some scholars and healers of various kinds who are very passionate about healing our relationship to gender and sexuality. So I'm going to be creating the website for that in the coming couple of weeks. So you can't sign up directly for that yet, but you can sign up for my newsletter, which is at my website, livingtheonelight.com. And then I will, through that newsletter, I will send out information when Rebecoming the One is ready to sign up for, and we would love to have you be part of that. And also on my website, I list a lot of the other things I've been doing. It's too much to name right this second, but there's lots there, and I would love to have you be part of any of it. Yeah.
I think your website, and I hope my website in the future too, is a good way to find out more. Yeah. And just a short recommendation. So Rebecoming the One last year was already so life-changing, not only for me, I know for many people. So yeah, stay in contact with Martha or with me too. I will share about the symposium too, so you will not miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I literally hundreds of people wrote to me and said how much it affected their lives, and people from all walks of life, all sexual orientations, all gender identities, including straight, like heterosexual, cisgender people, like women in their 70s who said, I didn't think this was for me, but wow, this completely changed my life. Thank you so much. I mean, really, like, that's why we're doing it again, because people seem to really need this. I think our world really needs this. And again, it's
very
free.
Aquarius.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, we will see you in the next video. Thank you.